Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Frank-Durugbor. I created 3-minute convos to inspire and motivate people to apply some of the learnings from the real examples that I'll be sharing through educational content, podcasts, and interviews. Join me as I delve into various topics on communications and leadership that you might find useful and interesting. I will share with you practical insights, real-life examples that can help you navigate your challenges confidently. There's always something new to learn, so join me as we embark on this journey together. For years, I have mentored and coached young communications professionals, and I just decided to compile all I've shared with them over the years into this 3-minute convos series on my YouTube channel. In my previous video, I talked about communications managers who are new to their roles and have limited experience, and I shared with them some tips. You can check my channel to watch that video, just to follow the conversation. The context still remains. You're new to the job, you're a new communications manager in the banking, manufacturing sector, whichever sector it is, as long as you're new on the role. Now, you might face challenges because you're new, and you have limited experience, but do not panic. I'm here to share with you some tips and suggestions on how you can navigate your job and your role confidently. So today's new communications manager hack is on managing expectations. As a communications manager, how do you manage the expectations of superiors and stakeholders and still deliver results? Let's be clear, transitioning into a new role can be quite challenging. You're new to the role, you need to meet expectations and deliver results at the same time. So what do? Well, today I would like to share with you 4 tips that can help you navigate this challenge and deliver results excellently. The tips are: 1, you need to identify your stakeholders. 2, you need to communicate effectively. 3, you need to set realistic goals. 4, you need to foster a collaborative environment. Now let's take these tips one after the other. The first tip is to identify your key stakeholders. Like I'd mentioned, you're new to the role, all right, and you understand the scope of your work. You need to know the key stakeholders within the organization that are critical to helping you deliver on your job. So for instance, I would imagine that as a new communications manager, one of your key stakeholders would be the human resources director, or the IT information technology director, or stakeholders in the marketing function. These are examples of some key stakeholders that you may have. You need to identify them, and when you identify them, you need to also map out how you'll engage with them. So for instance, if you're about to deliver on a particular task, you need to ask yourself, who needs to know about this task? Who needs to contribute to the task? Who do I need to keep informed of the task? So these questions are so critical in helping you to manage that stakeholder relationship. Now, the second tip is to communicate effectively, and it is advisable to open lines of communication. You shouldn't work in silos if you're a communications manager. You need to understand who your stakeholders are, like I mentioned before, and map out a plan on how to engage them on a periodic basis. For instance, who needs to receive a report and when? Who needs to meet with you before you start a task? Who needs to get regular updates on the task that you're working on? These questions are so critical in helping you to open up the lines of communication and also to engage effectively with your stakeholders. In addition to all of this, communicating effectively means identifying the right tools and channels to engage with your stakeholders. So for instance, who requires a telephone call or an email, or who would you meet via, for instance, Zoom or Google Meet to share updates with? Who require an actual report? You need to understand who these stakeholders are, like I had mentioned before, and understand the channels and tools to reach them. This will help you to communicate effectively. The third is to set realistic goals. Now listen, this is so important, right? You're new to the role, you want to impress everyone, but be careful. What you need to understand is that you need to align your capabilities with the task that has been given to you. All right. And you need to communicate effectively on how much time you would require to deliver on a particular project or task. Now, let's give an example. As a new communications manager, you've been asked to deliver on quarterly newsletters for all the employees in the organization. It is advisable to break down this task into milestones and prioritize your tasks. So for instance, like I'd mentioned, you're working on a newsletter for the entire organization. I would imagine that developing a newsletter for all employees will have the following tasks. One is designing a content strategy. What would your newsletter be about? Number two would also be, getting contributors for the magazine or the newsletter. The third could also be planning the design and layout of the newsletter. So I'm just giving you three examples of the tasks that could be included in such a project. The fourth tip is to foster a collaborative environment. If you're a communications manager, remember that you cannot work alone. You need to build collaboration. You need to open the lines of communication with your team members. You need to celebrate wins. It is so important that you work in a collaborative environment, share ideas, receive ideas, and you'll see that you'll excel in your role. So to round up on some of the hacks that can help you manage expectations as a new communications manager, I'll take the tips again. Number one, you need to identify your stakeholders. Number two, you need to communicate effectively. Number three, you need to set realistic goals. And the fourth, you need to foster a collaborative environment. So I hope you've learned a thing or two from the tips that I've shared with you today. And I'd like to invite you to always visit my channel for some new hacks on how to navigate your new role as a new communications manager. Remember, my channel is not just about being new on the role and some of the tips that you can use to navigate the challenges and excel in your role. I'll also be delving into other aspects through educational content, podcasts, and interviews. So please subscribe and share this video. Thank you.